And we're live. It is the Kent Beck Scrum, and Sam and Anna are here. I have been working on deploying local support to the new DRE infrastructure through the new DRE GitHub thing, and I haven't got it working yet, but I continue to work on it. Am I maybe on the last bug, or is it only merely just a bug that will conceal the next 25 bugs? But that's the way that's going. Slow and steady progress there. Yeah, so that's that thing. I'm in the process of reviewing local support pull requests. We've got some great stuff from Piotr and Maroen. Yeah, so website one. Yeah, the big thing I need to get to is there's like a website one deployment stuff that needs to be done, and I haven't got to. But that's probably going to be put off because the big thing I've got to get done is a draft of my talk for the DevOps conference on Thursday. I mean, it really must, like, at the very least, publish the slides for that today, get feedback, if not actually record a talk. So I'm probably going to do a little bit more DevOps after this Scrum and then get on to that. Other exciting news, I think we're on the cusp of being offered $10,000 a month from Google AdWords as a result of being a charity, which could be great. Other things happened this morning we had a marketing kickoff. We've got a new marketing intern who's volunteering with us on Mondays and Tuesdays. So they're tasked with helping us form a marketing strategy, and we're going to look in and see, do Facebook and Twitter and everybody else have such generous offers as Google in terms of allowing charities to market themselves. We will see. That's pretty much my update. Anna, how are things going with you?
Well, not much. Actually, I haven't done anything because I was quite busy with my, with my main job.
Sure.
I actually saw your update on this, on that story that I was about to take up and start.
Yes.
You mentioned that it has no such importance right now. So I actually removed myself from it and moved it back to I make it unstarted and moved it back to the icebox.
Yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
I'm thinking now to maybe shift more to this website one project, perhaps.
Sure.
Yeah, but it seems that I'm working on Cloud 9 because I have no laptop to work on. Actually, I've got one, but it's my working laptop, and that's why I decided to concentrate on everything in cloud. There are some things that you cannot run the tests normally in Cloud 9. You need to comment some of the gems, and I don't want this to be my normal testing machine, probably, because then I will not be able to correctly I don't want to update the source code every time before submitting things. Yeah, but anyway, there is a testing service, so probably I will start doing things and pushing into the testing service to see how it's going. Because before I tried to, although it's really slow, but before I tried to run the tests on C9 anyway.
It's certainly an option to, particularly if you're working on C9, you can push the tests into the CI and have them run there. Is a perfectly reasonable thing to speed things up. Yes. So anything else blocking you at all at the moment?
No, not at all. It's just lack of time,
Sure. I know that story, absolutely. Thanks. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about what the local support there at the end of the Scrum. But yeah, good report. And Thomas, always a pleasure to see you. How are things going with you?
I'm hanging in there. It's Monday, so it's been a busy day at Craft Academy. Introducing. We're in week 7, so it's about mobile application development. So. A lot of Angular stuff. I've been working my ass off through the weekend because as always I'm late, and we needed to update some materials with some new documentation. So I had to work work through the entire weekend on that. But I've been on. Lara hosted a visualizer meeting today. So it was me, Amber, Brian, and Lara. So that's good. We went over some the current state of the application and some pivotal tracker stories, and have basically a strategy for moving forward. So Lara is taking a lead on that, and that's really good.
Great.
So that's cool. So we plan to start to validate this service by the end of this week, or potentially the beginning next week. So we want to make a push and put it in a state where we can actually, get it out there to some users, and basically ask a very basic question: is this something that you would potentially use? A, and B, is this something that you could potentially pay some money for? And if the answer to both of these are yes, then it's worth pursuing this project. Otherwise, we have to go back and pivot a little bit. So that's it. That's the plan for this application.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Anything blocking you at all?
No, it's just it's just time as usual. So, I have a nice Carlsberg here, so.
Well, hey, they help with the time there. They help pass the time. I believe it's good stuff.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
No, so but other than that, we're just working on some client work, and we are experimenting with the action cable, a few projects, and I just pitched a project idea to my coaching team for the students' final weeks. Final project, basically, that also involves action cable. So it's going to be interesting.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, that nicely segues actually into one. I'll just, if you guys have a spare moment and you haven't already, do upload and star this Stack Overflow post.
Already done that.
Well, I had a feeling you'd be ahead of me there, Thomas. But yeah, so we've got this issue of the Hangouts API being discontinued. Yeah, so not that on April 25th. So it's it'd be interesting to see how that impacts us.
So you're gonna have to make a shift to the YouTube API, basically.
Well, it's not clear. Like the YouTube API, as far as we doesn't support like plugins within the live streaming events, as far as we can tell, or does it? I mean, the funny thing is, I actually phoned. I mean, I do pay for Google Enterprise support for my personal company.
Yes.
And I opened a ticket with them, and they actually phoned me. And we had a discussion, and I went through two different support people, one of whom was more technical than the other. But basically, they end up. I got a second phone call from them, and they're saying basically, yeah, it's going away. I sent them the link to our plugin app, and they said, yeah, that's going to stop working. And they said, but around that time, we're going to release a new thing, which might allow you to do some of the same things, but it's all hush hush, and we can't tell you anymore. And I was kind of like, okay, and I was like, well,
So did they define around that time?
No,
is it like the same day?
They were like totally imprecise. They were like totally. There might be something, but we are the mysterious Google.
Around that time means like 2 weeks before. Then
afterwards?
Because so afterwards sucks. But if you have at least 2 weeks notice, then you can do something, make a push, and actually.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if they can release some new API, like I'd say like I'd like a couple of months rather than a couple of weeks. But yes, then in principle we can switch over to it. But it's just funny. I don't know. Google, Google giveth with one hand and then take away with the other, or something. Anyway, so it's that's all kind of up in the air. But yeah, I guess
how it is. There is no such thing as a free lunch.
Well.
So.
We're all. I mean, I pretty much convinced myself that. I mean, we're getting all this free. Like this thing right now is being streamed directly to Google's servers for YouTube. And why do they make all this available? It's so that they can train their AIs to understand. We are like raw data for their AIs to understand. So we'll welcome our robot overlords. That's our Scrum. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to sort out between the three of us.
Oh, I think we're all good. I was just, I'm thinking about, can we get some more people? I mean, the Craft Academy course materials are all open sourced. Is there,
yes.
We spoke about this before. Is there could our members benefit from being told this over and over? Could we perhaps, post some links or some notification on Agile Ventures site that this Git book is available? Perhaps people could use it.
I think we could certainly. Yeah, in the Slack. I mean, it's kind of a resource. I mean, I guess what we don't have in the site is like a particular collection of learning resources so much, but that's something that we could. We've got like a collection of resources for pairing, which should be improved. But we could certainly have, you know, like a collection of resources, you know, like recommending, you know, the MOOC. You know, it's like, yeah, we could certainly. I mean, that would be certainly something to create, like a page. It would be like, here are things that we recommend that you should do, that would be good to do before collaborating with Agile Ventures. You know, is master the MOOC. Look, you've got craft code materials. There's the Odin project, and so on. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So let's get something set up. I'm sure that would be welcome. Yeah.
No, from our perspective, it would be always nice to get more and more feedback, because the way we develop these materials is, of course, we run them through a cohort after cohort after cohort, and every time we make some improvements. But if people would like to work through that, then and give us feedback on it. I know some guys did it on. I published some of my workshop materials for Agile Ventures members, and I get some valuable feedback from that. So that would be great.
Well, it occurs to me, would it be worth setting up like a sort of a Craft Academy Foundation that was a non-profit arm of Craft Academy to like be the kind of, what's the word? Not the shareholder, but the guardian, the kind of, you know, like in the same way that the Viking Code Camp or whatever it is, they have the Odin project. So the Odin project by itself is kind of like a separate entity that's sort of, you know, I mean, and it happens. I mean, I'm not they particularly use this, but it's sort of, you know, it's an Agile Ventures project because it's that's sort of a non-profit thing. And then, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, a foundation that would be, you know, have explicitly charitable aims to promote the, you know, maintenance of the Craft Academy curriculum.
I think that could actually fit into some of our other business objectives that we have. I mean, not business, but objectives that we have for the company, because we are. And I actually was meaning to talk to you about that. There are some possibilities for us that are. That are coming up in Africa, where we could run a few projects together with the Swedish state, because they've been approached by some officials, and we can raise some money for it, and it's okay for them to give money to for-profit organizations, but it's even better if they give money to non-profit organizations. So,
and as we're finding, being an official non-profit organization unlocks certain sorts of funds and opportunities and so on.
But I was thinking about the Odin project. I think that, you know, I think personally that Agile Ventures could benefit from having a curriculum under its umbrella that is really even white labeled, you know, under the Agile Ventures logo and everything. So the stream of users coming from the MOOC is perfectly fine, and it's lovely. But I think that, you know, having a curriculum, and I think you and I spoke about this 2 years ago already, it would be also good, you know, but the hustle is, of course, maintaining it and stuff. But I mean, the guys over at Odin Project have been doing a lot of great things. Although I do not know how active that project is at the moment.
I mean, I think it comes and goes, and we have had some people come and join us, having what's the word? They've come from the Odin Project, and I think at the end of the Odin Project, Agile Ventures is mentioned as a resource. So we do have folks come and do some coding, you know, on our stuff. Although I would say, my sense is that they're not necessarily the most active people. But certainly people have come in and contributed something from the Odin Project.
Yeah, but I don't know if Eric is more focused on the Viking Code Camp or not, or if the Odin Project is actually still actively being maintained. I haven't looked at their GitHub for a while now, but I mean, pulling that in would be, I think it would be a good complement to, you know, to actually gaining new members from the MOOC as well. You know, I mean, people could come from various sources.
Indeed. Interesting possibilities. Yes, well,
all right.
We can maybe take that up on another occasion, because we've come to the end of our Scrum, and I just wanted to check in with Anna on local support. Very interesting ideas there, Thomas. I mean, I think Viking, definitely the key focus is the money-making Viking Code Camp. The Odin Project, I'd say, I think it does continue, but it's sort of maintained on an ad hoc basis by volunteers, rather than.
So just to recap, I mean, the Odin Project was never producing any content. They were like a framework,
right. They were just
to different resources.
Right.
So that's a slight difference, you know, and I mean, so here at Craft Academy, we're actually producing our own content and pointing our learners to some external resources. But you know, all the challenges and everything is something that we work on defining, and that is the open source part. So this is definitely something that we could collaborate on if we have a framework how to manage that, you know. So I think that Odin project would be a interesting thing, and some Craft Academy materials in that context could be interesting. I don't know, you know, it's, and then package the whole thing as an Agile Ventures thing. So it's kind of seamless for the new people that come in. That yes, I can go through this curriculum, and then I can move over to some projects, you know, and become premium members and start paying for stuff.
Yeah, well, I think particularly if you can create the Craft Academy like foundation non-profit, then we can slot it in very easily.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Take it easy.
Bye for now. Anna, I was just thinking that we might. Yeah. So you mentioned the local support project there. Then I have. I just revealed all my tokens that I shouldn't have done anyway. But yeah. So what I think I don't know if you watched the client meeting where I made those. You know, I was editing those.
No, I didn't.
No, but basically what the client is saying is that the you know, she's feeling a bit despondent about the process of getting people to come and log into the site and edit their details, and she's directing us more towards where's it gone? Oh, can I find it? No, here, no. Ah, this one, which is creating scripts to update the charity information from the Charity Commission data downloads. So charities in the UK are required by law to update their information, you know, yearly through the Charity Commission. The Charity Commission doesn't provide an API, but they have started to provide data dumps of their.
Yeah, I actually seen this page, and I also visited the link you posted with the instructions how some other organization did this, right? Yeah, and I actually since they do this, they publish these data extracts monthly, I guess, right? How do you usually cover these type of repetitive tasks? Do you run some jobs?
Well,
is it a rake task or something like this? That
yeah, we do have some tasks. Now, the tasks that we have, oh, good grief, what is it? I'm just going to show everybody all of my secrets under here. Goodness me. It's the problem of doing live things on the computer. That's easily thrown out, isn't it? We've got here, that's website 1. I want to be over here in local support. Is that, so there's another service, which, you know, we're back when we started. Now, did we ever put it into the, it's kind of ended up being bolted onto the organization class, has these different import operations that work with CSV files. And this is, you know, back before we really discovered services, but that they are connected to, if we look in here, we've got lib, tasks, that's import do it.
Import do it, yeah.
But now import do it, that's a rake task that runs, that imports through a third-party API. Which is separate. What we've got is these CSV files. So this like data.csv, this is like a data dump of charities in the Harrow area from like 3 years ago that came from the Charity Commission, but it came via another service that was like scraping the data off their site and having it in like, you know, a CSV form, which is, you know, not unreasonable. And so we wrote the code to work with that. And I'm just like that import. I'm just wondering if I can find in path import their emails. Well, so for example, and it didn't have emails in it. And so we've got, this is like, we had a separate file with the emails in. And so you can see we've got things like organization import emails there. I guess if I go back to the model and I look for this import. I can see, where is that called? Find usages. We go. Import the lib tasks, emails rake. And I guess it's possible that that was even being run. Like I can see here, we've got. Oh no, I think it must be import addresses. Is that right? Import addresses is there.
Yep.
I think is then called find usages for that. Okay, and that's run in RakeDB. So you can see there in RakeDB seed. So
yeah, it basically gets it from file. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets it from this file. Yeah. So I mean, all of that is kind of old code and gnarly code, and should be cleaned up. But we basically don't run this with any frequency. Like the place that we got this from is called Open Charities. I think that their website is still up. Yeah. And they still seem to be operating, as far as I can see.
Yeah, but it's not official source. As I understand, the idea is to take the updated stuff from the official source, right?
That's right.
From the governmental. Right.
I mean, I absolutely. The interesting thing about this one is not. I mean, this one here, I think. I guess what I don't know if I checked this recently. So in principle, one can still download a more recent CSV file from there. But then actually the process of, but that's all of the charities throughout the UK with the email addresses removed. And actually to create this data CSV file, that is, it goes through some processing that I think I probably just did in Excel to look for things that had matching, postcodes and strip it down so that it's then, I think it's like 1,000 or so charities that are in this particular local area. So yeah, I mean, one, I'm not sure if how frequently this CSV thing is being updated. Two, yeah, I mean, it's not the official site, although I think that the data in it is quite reliable, but they do strip out the, or at least they certainly were, stripping out the, I could just have a look at the latest version of that. But yeah, so we've never automatically processed the data from here. We've had a look at the data, and it looks like this is like dumps from Microsoft SQL Server or something. And so the task that, if someone were interested in doing it, would be to kind of work out, what kind of script would be able to process this file in, and maybe the thing to do really would be to write a service. Like, we've obviously, all the stuff on the organizations class here is in the wrong place, and it's specific to the CSV, but one could have a service in here which would be like import from government database that would work with these files. The particular thing go on.
And that service, sorry to interrupt you, and that service, it runs actually in background, right? You don't run it once before deployment. It's done. It is something that you do periodically, right? The system does periodically.
Well, that's what we would like it to do. At the moment, the existing ones with the CSV were only intended to be to run once as a kind of seeding for the system. Whereas
I see.
In order to keep our database for harrowcn.org up to date, what we would like it to be doing is running in the background once a month. I mean, the thing is, because there's not an API, there's just this dump. It would basically I don't know actually if the URL was predictable, we could have this.
It is predictable, actually. It is predictable because it resembles a pattern with just months and years changing. Sure. I believe, since we only have 2 records here, it's a little bit early to say that. Sure. But we'll assume that this is something that has some pattern.
I mean, in the long run, assuming that this site and this format was going to stay there, if we had a task that was running, let's even say daily, that would check the URL, and if once a day it would check, is there a new URL? And if there wasn't, it would do nothing. And if there was, it would pull down the file, process it. And the particularly important thing that it would need to do is it would need to kind of like one filter to get stuff that's, make sure that it's actually relevant and in this area. And then it would need to look into the current database, the current stuff here, and then potentially overwrite the existing charity rather than just adding it, rather than just throwing away everything that's in there. It would kind of probably need to look at as well, like the last update. So that if somebody came in here and they edited it, since the last update, there's some like sort of subtle logic that needs to go on about making sure that we don't clobber any separate edits that have been made here.
Yes, exactly. That was what I was about to say, because if we have potentially a source of the potential problem of potential synchronization problems, because we get data from two different sources, and if we have such a situation, we need to have a rule to decide which one takes over.
Right, but I think that's absolutely correct. But it's also something we don't have to worry about now, because I think I have a pattern in my head for I know what the rule is. The question for what I think is more challenging in the first instance is doing, or I would say that the simpler task that we should do first, if we were doing this, is, can we run an operation on this that would just generate the data, maybe actually even in CSV format, of the right kind of stuff, and automating the filtering of charities that are in the area. And if we have scripts to do that, then that's the kind of, I would say that's the key thing where we might run into trouble about, like if we're using Ruby to do it, there are like funny characters in here, or I imagine it can be done, but I would say that's the, if one was to start working on this, the place to start would be on, okay, given the raw file, can we transform it into the set of data that we need in CSV, and then we can worry about those other, I mean, it sort of becomes an epic, and we can break out those other things into other separate things to work on, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I understand. Actually, I think the better approach is to start working with the file, not necessarily even in that local support development environment, because right now we are thinking about the algorithm itself, right? We need to look into the data, see what is in there, and what type of data we have in our database, what data matches, and what can be extracted, and etc. I think we can do that. I think I can take this up. I assume there's no deadline, right? It just we only have an intention from the client that they want it to be done, right?
Yes, I mean, I think it's and it's there's no deadline. That the current system continues to work as it stands. The data that we have, in the main sites, for a lot of these charities that haven't been updated in 2 or 3 years, they may not exist anymore. The data goes further and further out of date. So there's kind of like a general, the site's value that it offers by having its data go out of date is gradually deteriorating. So the sooner that it could be done, sort of, the better. But yeah, no, there's no deadlines. It's just, and it's, it's as I say, I think it'd be interesting to do like a little spike of, given this data, what can we get to it. I've just pulled out here, this is the CSV from that other site. I'm just looking to see if this has got how recently the data is on this. Will this tell me if I saw? So this is actually all of the charities in the UK. I maybe should have just
even those that are removed, I can see, right?
Yeah, it's also there. So we can go and reverse that like so. Yeah, so the charity register also includes those that have been removed, and we'll see what date this goes up to. Now this is specifically, this is the CSV from the Open Charities site that tries to make the data available in a so it's so I think, see, the latest account date in their database dump is 2014, which is,
yes, this is a bit old.
So that's we can forget that. It comes back to this one. Can we process this? And I think I probably have an example of do I have a reg? Let's search for reg plus. There we go. Yeah. So that was, like, it's interesting. Like, there used to be a June version, and that's been removed. And now I think, I've got the December version downloaded. And then, so you can see through this, I think there, if we open that with Sublime, what's this? Here we go. Yeah, so it's in this BCP format.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, they basically dumped the tables, right?
With
the bulk copy, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess what is the BCP format is, so it's a SQL Server dump. BCP to CSV. Yeah. It's like, oh look, here's somebody who's actually doing it with the data charity. Oh, looks like there's somebody there.
There is a Python script.
A Python script to do that. Yeah. There we go. So that's, anyway, I probably spent too much time chatting about it, and I should be focusing on other stuff. But this was,
it's okay, Sam. The task is understood. It's clear. So I think I will try to take over this. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great. The reason that I get so into it is because this is something that we at the very beginning of the local support project got. I was thinking that was going to be the whole thing. If we look, I was just today reviewing like some very early client meetings, and they have, I think, and I'm not going to find it now, but so the diagrams of that I had done of how this kind of ongoing update from the might actually work. So it's sort of God, it's funny. It's difficult. I'm like a monkey with the banana and the coconut. If you have ever read my blog post on that subject.
No, but I don't think you don't need to waste now your time on this. I think I will try to find out things, and for me it's also interesting how's in Rails the issue of background jobs is actually fixed. So there should be some standard Rails way of doing this, right?
Yeah, well, and I would say that the key thing there is, this is my diagram drawn 3 years ago about this process of trying to, get the data and where's it all going from and to. The key thing I would say is don't use, Rails got some like action job service, but it's massive overkill. I would say for the moment.
I understand.
This is
something that will be done only once in a month or something, right?
Right. Well, and what I would say is the thing to do is a service, rake task, and then Heroku has a background scheduler that can do this for us.
Okay.
So that and basically it can just call the rake task at some frequency. So yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'm very pleased to have been able to chat to you about that whole concept there, and look forward to catching up. But
Sam, if you have time, just a few minutes, I was just thinking because a group of people approached me last week, and they basically wanted to invest on some startups, local startups, things like that. And I started to do a research locally here in Baku, in Azerbaijan, on what's the startup community doing, what they're doing, how they basically to know their level of maturity perhaps. And I run across that this agile approach, it is not well understood, and not a lot of people follow this. And there is also a few organizations that try to attract younger people, or even women, girls, to the IT industry. And I think maybe what you're doing, guys, like this, maybe this, what the Craft Academy, and you with this MOOC and things like that. I'm just thinking of the idea to tie you together to those organizations, to make to introduce people to the agile approach. What do you think of the idea, basically? Because I'm going to meet a few people. This is, for example, there is a group of businesswomen. They just united and created this a community for girls to attract them to the IT, for example.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And I think they might benefit from what you are guys doing in Agile Ventures. And
sure.
Do you think this might work? I mean, because I want to approach them and talk to them and try to somehow link them together with you.
Totally. I mean, our resources are available to everybody in the world who wants them. So, definitely hook them up. I mean, I'm in the process of trying to write a book about how to do agile management of open source software projects. So, hook us up. I mean, I think that the, what we generally, I mean, anybody can be asking any technical question in Tech Talk. It doesn't have to be on a open source or charity projects. People are doing their own startups, can get help and support in a general sense. And, I think what we say is, come and experience the agile project management in the context of some open source charity projects, and you can take the skills that you learn there and use them in your startup projects. That's what lots of people do. I mean, in your for-profit, closed source ones. I mean, although I think, more and more these days, people are realizing that the value doesn't come from the software, it comes from the community that you build around it. So actually opening source your for-profit software.
Yeah, but that's understood. But perhaps they can pay for that. That's what I'm trying to say. Because maybe they can invite or talk to you somehow, that you can create an environment for the people, or maybe create some customized, customized curriculum, things like that. I'm thinking of the ways for you guys to get profit from this as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, what we also we do is we can do consulting for for-profit companies, where we give advice and support. We can put people in touch with Agile Ventures mentors with advice in a sort of advising and consulting capacity. So we can certainly do that. And I've got price lists and different things that we can do. So very happy to start those discussions if anybody's interested in getting. We've done reviews of their code, reviews of their business ideas, reviews of their project management process. We can definitely do that.
What do you think about the more teaching concept? For example, a remote teaching or something. Do you think it might work?
Well, we could also be doing a class where we're teaching people about. I mean, what we're about to do is we're moving towards this part 3 of the MOOC, where we run a whole series of project teams, and we effectively much more proactively teach or work with groups that are doing project management on real projects, with groups of people. So that's something which we're working towards making available, and will be being charged for. So that's in terms of developing the curriculum and materials, I'd probably try and put that all together to make it the part 3 of the course, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I see. Well, let's see. Let's see what will happen. Okay, maybe I will talk to them next week. And
these groups of people, are they more technical people? Are they more they're just business sort of people? I mean.
Well, it's a group of businesswomen. Most of them are non-technical.
Right.
But one I know personally. She is the CTO of the local telecom operator. So
Right.
she's quite technical. So
okay.
And this is whom I'm going to talk to actually.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing. I mean, I did just do. I mean, in terms of like, there is a workshop that I do, which is about agile project management, which is not technical, and it's just about the Scrum and the agile and getting your project management boards and trying to, you know, get things done. So that's I've got kind of curriculum for that, and that's a core. That's sort of there's a one-day workshop, and there's sort of like a longer-term version of it. So I can deliver those things if that's of interest.
Yeah, it's a good idea actually, because perhaps if they're interested in the idea, maybe they can invite you here to Baku and to give a workshop, something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, in principle, you know, you know, if we can pay the expenses for me to fly out there, but also I can deliver the workshop online as well. So, you know, we can work out, you know, whatever is the most cost-efficient way and most, you know, for delivering the best educational experience.
Okay, I see. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Sorry for taking so much time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye for now. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye.